everyone. Welcome to the Pineapple Experience. I am Justine Broker, and I have a very good friend of mine, Miranda, here with me today. She is multi-passionate. I'm super excited for you to hear from her. So without further ado, Miranda, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Hi, everyone. I'm Miranda. I've known Justine for about a year and a half now, is it?
Something like that.
Cool. I'm glad I remember the exact timing because this last 2 years has been a blur. So everything's like, yeah. And my passion is helping women like me find ways to eat healthy that feels good to them without sacrifice. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a foodie. I'm not cutting out my pasta, my pizza, my burgers, none of that. I just find ways to make it more nutrient dense so that I can keep enjoying it, because life is a one-time shot, and if you're too busy worrying about, oh, what am I going to eat? I can't eat that. Oh, I can't eat this. You're going to be miserable. I'm not for that. We're not doing that.
As soon as someone says like healthier eating and talks about cutting my carbs, not interested.
Yeah. And that's another part of my mission too, is to shift the message, because we've conflated healthy eating and dieting when they're really two different things. Dieting is about constricting what you should eat, but healthy eating is about finding ways to make it better for yourself so you can keep eating it. The number of diets I've been on since I was, Jesus Christ, 6? I'm all sorts of screwed up, but I'm still trying to fix everything that they fucked up in my life, quite honestly.
Do you mind going into that a little bit more? Because I believe that to be so true, that so much trauma comes from like childhood conditioning and things we experienced as a kid, whether we see it, hear it. Would you mind expanding on that if you're comfortable with that?
I don't mind. I just have to think about it, because basically, I've always been quote unquote big boned. My grandfather was 6'7", 360. So I was never going to be a skinny little mini. But growing up in the diet industry and in the crazy 80s and 90s and early 2000s, we were like, Kate Moss is the best. Cindy Crawford, you got to look like her. And I'm like, I'm never going to. My bone structure is too big. I can't do it.
Right.
But I still tried to force myself into that mold. So I went on Slim Fast, Ideal Protein, Atkins, South Beach. I would be successful for a little bit and then get annoyed and then just regain all the weight I had lost, because it's not sustainable.
Right. And what makes those not sustainable, that in your experience, in your opinion?
In my experience, they force you to cut out vital nutrients, specifically the Slim Fast, the Ideal Protein, and the South Beach. They have you cut out carbs. There's a reason those exist. Like, you can't tell someone not to eat carbs, because that's where you get all your fiber. So if you don't eat your carbs, you're not going to get the fiber that keeps everything moving, so you don't get sick. Right. But they don't say that. They're just like, oh, cut the carbs. Carbs are bad. I'm like,
I know. Which brings me to my next question. I have been seeing, I don't know if it's like this time of year or what, but I see so many people detoxing or doing like flushes, or what's your opinion on those?
I'm sorry, I can't hide my annoyance with that. But because that's another offshoot of the diet industry. They latch onto things that are naturally what our body does and amps it up in a way that makes it unrealistic. Like detoxification, we do that every day through sweating, going to the bathroom, shedding our skin. But they make it seem like it's a one-time thing that you really have to do everything and all the crazy juice drinks and weird tasting shakes to do. I'm like, no. Just let your body do what it needs to do. Just feed it right and just let it release everything it needs to release. It will do it naturally. Be like, I don't like that. I'm getting rid of it. And that's detox. That's all detox is. Your body says, okay, I can't use this. I don't like it. Get it out of me.
I completely agree. I lost like 70 pounds.
Yay!
Well, I was obsessed with working out like every single day, like hardcore hits, and like I was drinking the shakes, and then I felt like I got the six pack, I got the body that I thought I wanted, and I still wasn't happy. So
I've been on that road with Beachbody and other health issues. I can't do that either. So I know that struggle all too well. You have to work. You don't have to work out 3 hours a day to get the results you need. Again, it's about giving your body the nutrients it needs to have optimal function. And when you do that, you're going to reach your goals faster than you think, because that brings me back to an old accident I had back in 2013, where my sneaker got caught in the West Philadelphia pavement. I fell on both knees. I was on bed rest for like 6 months. Just sitting up felt like my entire lumbar region was on fire. So I did all of the things that I was supposed to do, or that I liked doing, not supposed to do, that I liked. I liked Greek yogurt, oatmeal, protein shakes. I started with smoothies because I didn't want to gain weight while I was just laying in bed. And then fast forward 6 months, my sister comes into my house yelling at me because she thought I was working out, even though I was supposed to be on bed rest. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just changing what I eat so I don't gain weight because I don't want to while I'm on bed rest. And that's how the whole business started, and the whole discovering what I'm about started.
What is it about what you do that just lights you up?
Mainly the fact that I get to eat the foods I love and find different ways to do it. Like I was saying earlier, I love pasta Alfredo. I'm not giving that up for nobody. I don't care who you are. You can pay me $10 million to be like, go shove it. No, keep your $10 million. So I find ways to enjoy it. One of my favorites is an edamame pasta that I recently found. Instead of it coming from wheat, it comes from the soybean. So in the same 2 ounces that you would get in a wheat pasta, you'd get 13 grams of fiber from the edamame pasta. But once you put the sauce on it, you'd never know that it was made from a soybean instead of wheat.
I was just going to say, can you tell the difference in the taste?
Nope.
No.
Wow. Not at all.
So have you kind of shifted away from the wheat?
No, not really. That's another fad. Well, it's not necessarily a fad, because there are some people with severe gluten intolerance and celiacs that have to stay away from it. I'm lucky that I don't have to. I'm just about finding ways to enjoy the foods you love in healthier options. Another way I enjoy my fettuccine Alfredo is I take chia seeds, put 2 tablespoons, let it sit, and then I still get the fiber, so the cheesiness of the Alfredo doesn't stick to my system. But you never know the chia seed. Well, it depends on how you use the chia seeds. You can grind them up and put them in as a powder, or just leave the seeds whole. But either way, the cheesiness of the Alfredo doesn't stick to your system, because the chia seeds are like, let's go, keep it moving.
That's awesome. I've never even heard of those.
Chia seeds?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're the best thing ever. I love them. I could go through a whole bag in like 2 months. That's the one thing I'm really focused on right now, especially as the holiday season comes. I'm determined to be like, no, do not give up your carbs. Do not start dieting. This is what you can do.
Right.
Because like I have a whole podcast that I'm starting, and the first episode is carbs are necessary, especially in these winter months, because what people won't know if they follow the diet industry, that you need carbs when you get sick. I mean, think about it. When you get sick and you have chicken noodle soup, which is loaded with carbs, you feel better because your body uses the hydrogen in the carbohydrates to produce the ATP that gives your body the energy to fight the infected pathogen. So it all plays together. And once you know what something does to help your body, you're going to be so much more motivated to find ways to keep it in your system and in your routine, instead of just cutting it out unnecessarily.
I feel like it's such a head game too.
Oh yeah. Ugh. My head's still, I'm better off than most people, but I still have my days where I'm like, you idiot, why did you eat that? And I'm like, no, don't say that to yourself. Don't do that.
I know. It's the things that we tell ourselves and choose to focus on is why I think it's so important for people like you to do what you do, because it's in those moments where like, I can't make this change. I can't get into it enough or see the results fast enough to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and that's being part of the clinic and healthcare life. I'm really struggling with that right now because I have to do a 3-hour commute every day to my 9 to 5 job. So I have no energy for nothing when I get home. I get in my house, go to bed, lay down, and just.
Yeah.
So I have to find little ways to keep going. No matter how small it is, if it can keep me on the right track, I'm satisfied with that. But that's been over the course of almost 8 years.
Wow. Wow. So this has been a focus of yours for that long, huh?
I want to say yes, but it actually goes back a lot further.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I came home from college, I had to start taking care of my mom. And I saw how she went from vibrant career woman to basically invalid in a wheelchair because of the ways that food was not thought of as a proper remedy for everything she had to go through. They were just throwing medications at her. Like, don't cry. But like, there were times where I saw her take all of her morning medication. About an hour and a half later, she would toss it all up and then have to start all over again. That poor woman was so miserable because they just kept throwing pills at her. And 3 or 4 of them were not supposed to be prescribed together at all. So that makes me very angry. Like, it was literally contraindicated. Do not prescribe these 2 together. And they were just like, man, we'll prescribe them together anyway. I'm like, really? You're gonna kill her. And they essentially did.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine. That's another thing is a whole nother tangent is the healthcare industry and really focusing on what people need instead of defaulting to the pills.
It's the training, man. Unfortunately, my sister's a psychiatrist. So she has told me horror stories of how pharmaceutical companies would come in and give them samples and encourage them to use them during their internships. So they literally come in as they're learning to be healthcare professionals. And that's why they're so, here's a pill. And then they also take advantage of the fact that they know that they're going to be in serious debt. My sister had like $400,000 of student loans. So they're like, here, we'll create an incentive. You keep prescribing these pills, we'll give you a little side money.
Oh.
And that's why the opioid crisis got so bad. Because the founders of that company wanted people to take their pain pills, and doctors were like, okay, this is what we're used to doing. Here you go. And they didn't put 2 and 2 together that the poppy plant is what makes the heroin, and the poppy is also used in the opioids. So that's what brings the addiction to the other. That's what causes people on pain pills to become addicted to crack or need crack and heroin because they're from the same plant.
We're always looking for the quick fix, Miranda.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people are looking for the quick fix and they may have tried a million different things, but when sustainability and changing your diet or really looking, okay, what am I doing? What am I putting in my body right now that could be causing these issues? For example, I was on, not that long ago, a very dark path to alcoholism. Like I was just coming home and drinking. And like if beer was gone in the fridge, it's all I could focus on. And so I was just drinking a lot of beer. And I'm like, oh, I just feel so awful. And like I was all bloated and I was just not feeling good. And then my therapist was like, do you drink alcohol? And I'm like, yeah. And then when I really realized how much I was really like numbing my feelings and causing like a physical negative impact on my body, it became a lot easier to stop drinking beer. In your experience, is it true like a lot of just the simplest things can make the biggest change and progress that people want to see, even if it's not like body image, like just feeling better?
Absolutely. Depends on how long you've been giving your body bad things, but from the first time you make a positive change, your body will start to feel will start to negate the negative effects. And you'll eventually start to feel it, because I know I had chocolate chip muffins this morning. And then for lunch, I had my green smoothie of kale, pineapple, coconut water, and chia seeds. My body was like, thank you. I could literally feel the refreshment and the electrolytes go into my system, and my body just being so happy from getting those nutrients instead of being like, these crappy sugars, I can't do anything with them.
Right. Yeah, except store them away and prepare you for winter, right?
Mm-hmm, pretty much.
What is a common assumption that people make about the work that you do that isn't true?
I think, again, it all has to go back to the diet industry, because they assume that I'm going to force them to give up what they love. And I don't do that. If you start working with me, I'm like, okay, you're going to keep doing what you're doing. The only thing is, you have to start writing down everything that you're doing. Write down what you ate, how it made you feel, what factors went into what you ate. Because during the busiest clinic days, I don't have time to eat. I can remember dozens of occasions where I'm going home after an 11-hour shift and I pick up McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell, and just because I'm so fucking hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I got to do something about this. And that's when I started making my muffins and different like pies and stuff that I could take to work, so that I would have something portable to eat. Because I can't, in a clinic, you don't have time to sit down and actually eat a meal. You have to have something that you can take bites of every few minutes.
Oh gosh, there's so many days where I get like to 4 o'clock and I'm like, why do I feel so like lethargic? Oh, that's because you haven't eaten anything today. Like,
yeah. Oh, I did that twice last week. I was like, shit. Yeah. I forgot to eat again. And then I go to Chipotle, which is right by the bus stop. But it's Chipotle, so I don't feel as bad, because I'll get the black beans, I'll get the corn salsa, the guac. So I get some nutrients, but I still feel like, damn it, I should have brought food from home.
I love that you mentioned writing things down and how you feel. That has got to be very, very powerful. And that kind of leads me to the closing question of whoever's watching this, and I know many people are going to relate to this. So what's one thing that they could do today to get started?
Honestly, I would say just write everything down, because writing things down isn't only cathartic, it doesn't get the thoughts out of your head, but it allows you to get the ideas you have for better options on record. So you don't have to be like, oh, what was that idea I had about trying chia seeds in my Alfredo sauce, so I don't have to worry about the way the cheese will make me feel. Just having a record is so powerful, because you can see what worked for you and then keep doing what worked for you, and you can keep going and find new ways. And then like 10 months or 11 months down the road, you can have a record and be like, wow, how far have I come? Holy crap. I've done all of this by just doing small changes. This is crazy.
Yeah. And that's another piece where your support would be so huge, because if someone's like, I can't give up cheese, then you in turn can be like, well, what if have you tried this or tried this?
Yeah, like, for the cheese, I would say keep eating your cheese, but if you want to use it on a burger, make your burger with peppers and onions inside the meat, so you get the vegetables as well, so you can negate the cheese. It's all about finding ways around what you think is bad, but if you take the time to actually think about it, it won't be as bad if you can find ways to add other nutrients in. Plus, you get the big portion sizes that they give us.
Right.
But in a healthier way, because you get your onions, you get your red bell peppers, your tomatoes.
Oh, so good. I love talking sustainable foods. Sorry, I've never been able to talk about it, but talking with people who are passionate, it gets me motivated to want to, change the things that I do. Like I got my water, but how much is gone of it? You know, just simple little things of being conscious of that lead to huge impacts.
Yeah. I was going to say, it reminds me of the Fibonacci effect, which is like the Fibonacci sequence in math. It goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. And that's basically what I teach. Small changes, they turn exponential when you do enough of them, so that you don't have to sacrifice everything.
That's what it's all about. These crash diets. Anyone watching this, stop with the crash dieting. If you have questions, reach out to Miranda. I just love your passion. And do you have a space where people can go, or do you want people to reach out to you, or what's the best way to get in contact and in your bubble?
I think the best way to get in contact is to visit my website, mirandacasiano.com, because you can see more of my story and what I do on a daily basis with my 11-hour days, not counting the 3 hours I have to go to work on public transportation every day. But then there's also my free Facebook group where I try to give people motivation and shift their mindset from beating themselves up to saying, okay, what can I do to make myself feel better, but not give up everything? And I give recipes and motivational tips and just give you an opportunity to just talk about what's wrong.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for talking with me and sharing your gift. I swear, like every time we talk, it's like a breath of fresh air. So I'm so glad we connected. And anyone, reach out to Miranda. You'll love working with her. She is just the most genuine person that you'll meet. So
thank you, Justine. I love connecting with you.
Yes. Well, that is all for today's episode. And thanks again, Miranda.
Thank you.
We'll see you all soon.